All right, let's talk about building a powerful and truly cost-effective security operations center, a SOC. And we're going to do it without getting trapped in those expensive proprietary models. This is all about giving you the know-how to build a high-performance SOC on your own terms, so you can finally take back control of your security strategy. So let me ask you a crazy question. Is your security budget actually making you less secure? I know, it sounds completely backward, right? But what if the very way you're spending your money, especially on your big SIM platform, is forcing you to make compromises that create massive, dangerous blind spots? Well, we're going to dig into that exact idea. So here's how we're going to break this down. First, we'll look at the problem with traditional security platforms. Then, we're going to uncover these hidden taxes that just chip away at their value. After that, we'll pivot to a whole new mindset, explore a couple of foundational tools that help you build real skills, and finally, we'll look at the true return on investment you get with this new approach. Okay, so the conventional wisdom for building a SOC usually starts right here. You go out, you buy a big, all-in-one proprietary security platform, right? Usually a SIM. And look, on the surface, it seems like the fastest way to get up and running. But this approach, it comes with some really serious and often totally unforeseen challenges down the road. And this, right here, is the heart of the problem. We get so focused on that initial license fee, the sticker price. But I'm telling you, that number is almost always misleading. It's really just designed to get you in the door, because the real costs are waiting for you right on the other side. So let's talk about those real costs. I like to call them hidden platform taxes. And I call them that because they're not just draining your budget, they actually work against you. They compromise your security by creating all the wrong incentives for your team. And here is the trap, plain and simple. On one side, you've got the sticker price. That's the number you signed off on. But on the other side is the reality, the total cost of ownership, which just keeps growing and growing. The entire model is built to make you pay more as your data grows and as your team grows. First up is the seat tax. It's exactly what it sounds like. You have to pay for every single person who needs to log into the platform. And what happens? Well, to save money, you start restricting access. Suddenly, your incident responders, your threat hunters, even your DevOps folks can't get in when they need to. This creates huge bottlenecks and just slows your response time to a crawl. And this one is even worse. Data ingestion fees. The vendor charges you for every single gigabyte of log data you send to your SIEM. So what do? You can't afford to send everything, so you start making cuts. Maybe you stop collecting those endpoint logs. Maybe you shrink your log retention window. You are literally paying to create your own security blind spots. And this really is the bottom line. These proprietary SIEM models force you into a terrible no-win situation. You either have to completely blow your budget to get the full visibility you actually need, or you have to intentionally limit your visibility to stay on budget and just cross your fingers that an attacker doesn't slip through the gaps you just created. It's a fundamentally broken model. Okay, so that's the problem. It's a big one. But what's the solution? Well, it really starts with a major shift in how we think about this stuff. We have to stop thinking about just buying licenses and start thinking about building real, actual capability inside our own teams. And this is the way forward. It's a 4-step process. First, just acknowledge that the old way is broken. Second, we embrace open principles to escape that data lock-in. Third, and this is key, we focus on building foundational skills within our own team. And when we do all that, we can finally achieve a true, measurable return that is so much bigger than just saving a few bucks. All right, let's get practical. Our first building block is what I call the pro-grade sandbox. Honestly, the best way to think about this is like a gym for your security team. It's a low-cost, super high-impact place where they can build the muscle memory they need for real-world defense. So what is it, really? It's just a safe, totally isolated virtual lab, a place where you can detonate malware, you can test out exploits, and you can see what attacks actually look like, all without any risk whatsoever to your live network. It is the perfect space for safe, hands-on learning. And this is what your team learns to see. Instead of just reading about an attack in a report, they can actually watch malware, try to modify the registry to set up persistence. They can see it spin up new processes, watch it try to escalate its privileges, and see it beaconing out to a command and control server. This is how you turn abstract theory into a real, tangible skill. So once your team starts building those skills, they need to see what's happening in your actual environment. That brings us to our second building block, an open-source vulnerability scanner. Think of this as a super powerful flashlight that you can use to find all the dark, dusty corners of your network. Its job is pretty straightforward. It systematically goes through your environment and identifies all those little weaknesses that attackers just love to exploit. And it's not just about finding unpatched software. It's about understanding your entire attack surface, from simple misconfigurations to devices you didn't even know were plugged in. And this chart really breaks down what these scanners find. A huge piece of the pie is the basics, right? Unpatched systems that are just sitting ducks and misconfigurations like leading default passwords. But look at that last chunk, shadow IT. We're talking forgotten servers, unauthorized devices. This is a massive, totally unmanaged risk just waiting to be found. Okay, so we've invested in our team's skills with a sandbox, and we've gained real visibility with a scanner. Now let's talk about the payoff. Because the return on this investment, it isn't just about saving money on licenses. It's way more strategic than that. And to really wrap our heads around the financial side, we can't just look at year one. A 3-year total cost of ownership model gives us a much more honest picture of where the money is really going over time. This table right here tells the entire story. With a proprietary SIEM, your costs are just dominated by those recurring license and data fees that never ever stop. But with an open source approach, poof, those fees are gone. You're shifting your investment away from just renting access and into assets that you actually own, your team's skills and your own infrastructure. And that gives you something no vendor can: total control. But the real ROI, the big win, goes way beyond the spreadsheet. You get full data visibility with no penalties. You get vendor independence, which means no more lock-in. Your team becomes way more skilled and effective because they understand the fundamentals. You can innovate faster, and because it's open, you have total transparency and trust in your tools. And look, this doesn't mean you have to go it completely alone, of course not. Once you have this solid foundation built, you can absolutely augment and scale your program by bringing in strategic partners who can give you that enterprise-grade support you need, helping you mature without ever giving up control. So I'll just leave you with this question to think about. Imagine for a second, your security team, totally empowered with deep skills and complete visibility into your environment, completely free from any of those vendor-imposed limits on data or access. Just think, what could they truly achieve?